Thank you, Rema, for making some time today to share your advice, experience, and stories with me. I really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to hearing um, everyone's favorite part of these podcasts, which is a little bit about your career journey and how you've gotten to where you are today. And I definitely have questions that I hear from job seekers that I'd like to ask you later in the episode. But if you don't mind starting by telling us a little bit about, what you've done to get to the position you're in today, that would be fantastic.
First of all, thank you very much for having me here today. It's a pleasure to share my personal journey. My background is actually medical and psychiatric social work back home in India. And I worked with them for 10 years for non-institutional support services for kids. Basically, that's what I was doing. But when I came, my husband took up an assignment here, and when we came to Dubai, there was nothing much I could do because I did not know Arabic, and social work as a discipline wasn't really well known at that time. So I had to actually, find my niche by myself. I got recruited as a counselor for a school, and I joined the Indian High School, which is a very large not-for-profit school. And I was helping students from grades 5 to 12 navigate this whole thing about careers, about personal issues. So there were just three of us, and I was responsible for both personal as well as career counseling. And then I realized the 4 years that I worked was a very good learning experience for me because I could study what the market really needed, what students were really grappling with, what were some of the issues that they were facing. And that's when I actually got headhunted by an American firm. They were a startup and they just started over here, and I knew I knew a lot of families by then because I was with this big large school. And they wanted me to do more of a marketing role than a counselor's role, which I wasn't comfortable with. So after a year, I quit from there. And then in 2005, I set up my counseling point. It's been almost 19 years. Wow. And yeah, and actually, one of the podcasts you had featured Gillian Johnston.
Yes.
So Gillian was part of my journey because there was a time when Gillian used to teach at Sharjah Women's College. And before she left, she actually roped me in and asked me to teach one of the courses there. And we worked a lot on a conference called Counseling Arabia. So there were lots of things that we had in common, and Counseling Arabia was a huge conference where we used to have all the people from Middle East who wanted to improve their skill sets and to understand what's going on in this market and all of that. And also some of the problems faced by young youth was discussed.
Okay.
It was a very inclusive thing, not just careers. So we had other adolescent issues, things that families were facing, all of that. So when I recognized, actually in 2005, when I set up Counseling Point, there was that category was not there. When I went to the economic department and requested that I want to set it up, they said, we don't have that category. That was the initial response, So then I actually put up a plan and told them what I was hoping to do and explained what I had done in the past in India and what I had done over the 4 years in the school and what my vision was. And that was actually something that the head of the economic department really, she said, oh, we don't have this and we really require this. And she wrote something small in Arabic. And then this very same guys who told me, no, you cannot, we don't have this category. very same people said, please come. And, they were very much more welcoming when they understood what it was all about.
I see. Wow, that is amazing, Rima. And what an obstacle to overcome, because I think for many, you would hear that category doesn't exist. And then, you know, that's an easy point to say, okay, well, I guess I have to do something else. But to take it one step further and really create that category, which to your point is extremely important, really speaks to the work you've done. So thank you for pushing this forward. And it's funny you
Thank you.
mentioned, yeah, go
It's,
ahead.
it's what shall I say? Uh, it has been a challenge. I can't say it's been a bed of roses because now every second person who even doesn't have the qualification or the training considers themselves a counselor, right? We have so many that have mushroomed over the years, and anybody and everybody thinks that if they have, for example, placed their child during their school days and have them go to a good university, they think they are the counselors, right? So now we have a whole lot of people who profess to be counselors, not really having the qualifications. Some of them are good, I won't deny that, but some of them are here, and you can see it because sometimes people come like a flash in the pan, they come for a few years and then they're gone, you know. So I feel plodding along, and if you really believe in something, then a universe also conspires to have it happen. It's basically, we talk about manifesting, we talk about wanting something really, and then working towards it. I,
Yes.
I see so many of my students have now become counselors, psychologists, and it's such a rewarding feeling because I dealt with them when they were 17. Yeah, now, the
Wow.
counseling center is 20 years old. I came here in 98. So now I'm going to their weddings.
Oh my goodness, that's unbelievable. And what an impact to influence them in a way that made them excited about this field. But to your point, it is a field of study, right? This is a role that does take training and resources to support properly. And like you said, there are people who are naturally good at this, but what I have noticed in this space is that, like you said, this isn't just a role that ends up helping with jobs. There are other factors that students, mid-career professionals will come to a counselor with, um, and need support on. So as you kind of, grew and continued your own studies, what do you recommend that other counselors do to increase their skills, and what kind of skills do they need to support the individuals who might be reaching out to them asking for career guidance, but who also have other needs that might fall on this staff member's plate?
Yeah. So the thing is that right now in the UAE, we don't have a career counseling course as such as a master's qualification or a diploma qualification. But having said that, there are several entities like NCBA and also certain big, large Pearson like companies that offer training which will enhance your skills. And
Okay.
increasingly, people in the industry are taking those things. Now, you must understand that my focus was high school students and helping them navigate. And everything is intertwined, your personal goals, your family situation, your level of maturity, everything is interconnected. So
Right.
sometimes when like, the parents have certain views. I work with a lot of Asian families. So simply because I'm an Indian, and also because Dubai has a lot of Indian population. So what happens is that um, parents have certain aspirations and goals which may not be in sync with what the young person wants, right?
Right.
And sometimes it's very difficult. Um, for the young person to speak up, because that expectation in that person is so high. So when a third party person like me, who is not involved in this whole decision making process, talks to both sides and makes them understand what it is all about and why this person is saying what he or she is saying. And if I'm able to back it up with, like, I have a tie up with another company which does psychometric assessments. And in the past, in India, we used to only use something called DAT, the differential aptitude test. Okay. It
Okay.
used to be the only thing that we would look at. But today we recognize the personality of the individual, his relationships, his intelligence, his spatial orientation. A whole bunch of things come into play when they have to kind of match their strengths with potential careers. So when there is conflict, then I recommend that they do these assessments, simply because we get a greater clarity on where their strengths lie, and then what is it that would be a good match in terms of higher education. Because we're talking here about 17, 18-year-olds, and it's not all of them that take a whole year out to figure out what's good for them, because the concept of gap year is not an accepted practice,
Ah,
right?
whereas in
There are
Canada,
a
it's
few
very,
children who do that,
yeah.
but by and large, it's after this, you know? So,
Yeah.
in fact, and now in Dubai, we have a lot of universities. So earlier, I was only helping young school students, but now with all these universities opening up, I have students, especially because of the social, I mean, all the geopolitical things that are going around in this whole world,
Hmm.
and the safety and security blanket that we are blessed with over here. Parents are saying, okay, do the undergrad here and then we think about masters. So increasingly, I'm getting students who are figuring out what to do after their undergrad program, you know, and then they are a little bit more mature, so they know this is not for them, or I think I should do this, or whatever. So we sit and discuss at length what would be a good match, and then I also encourage them to look at the course outlines, about what it entails, because you may be someone who has a glamorous view about, or a romanticized view of a certain subject. But when you look at the integrities of it and all of the courses that you have to do as part of it, it may disillusion you. So, to make a judicious choice, it's important for an individual to see what the course entails, and should they complete the course, where does it lead up to? Is there an internship component? How is it going to benefit the student? What are some of the things he or she can do online to better prepare himself for the course? All those things are discussed, so that the first few steps that you go outside your comfort zone, everything is going to be very rosy. I'm sure you know that. It's a
Yes.
honeymoon period where everything looks very, cool, and everything is so nice because you've got your freedom. But at the same time, in reality strikes, there will
Yes.
be certain issues that you're faced with. So it is always nice to have these conversations, so that the young people, nothing prepares them as much as actual experience. But at least if we have some conversations around what could happen and what may be some of the challenges, then they are better equipped to deal with those challenges.
That is really helpful advice, Rima, especially this concept of reviewing the courses that are part of a program. Because when you were saying that, I was thinking back to when I was 17 and deciding on what to do in post-secondary school. And I thought, kind of like you're saying, engineering sounded really cool. it sounded like, hey, there's going to be jobs after this, but I'm not sure I went into that kind of detail. And, it's like you said, there was that initial phase where it's like, cool, I'm on campus now. And then I started taking the courses and I started doing trigonometry and calculus and chemistry. And I was thinking, I'm not sure this is really for me, but then I was in it. And I do think that's really important advice to take advantage of before you spend money on a program and invest your time in a program, because it does give you an interesting snapshot of what to expect. Um, Now, that being said, for the age groups you're dealing with there, where there are, there's 17 and 18-year-olds, do you often find they have many different ideas? And how do you help them kind of pick one? And I know, I think what you're saying, the experience is part of it, but I'm curious, if they're like, well, I want to be maybe an engineer, maybe a lawyer, maybe a doctor, or maybe an actor, or maybe a nurse, how do you help
Yeah,
them narrow it down?
yeah. So one of the things that I see, when a student goes to a North American institution, there is flexibility and there's choice. Okay. Everybody has to do 120 credits spread over a period of 4 years.
Right.
It may go a few credits up and down, maybe if they've taken some dual degree program or a major and a minor, whatever. But by and large, they have the opportunity of changing their course, have a discussion with academic advisors if they feel. I mean, I give you a classic example. I'm not naming him, but the student of mine, his mom was a teacher. And from eighth grade, he was crazy about aircrafts, and he was trying through simulators. He was having, he was so fascinated by flights. He would be able to rattle off which flight that was and which plane that was, and he was so good with it. And then he came to me. His parents said, "Okay, please, we need to help him, but we really need a scholarship because he was an IB student, and he was doing pretty good. I won't say outstanding, but good. And he had initiated some very nice programs, STEM related, in his school, which showed his proactiveness and initiative, which actually got him a very good scholarship.
Oh,
But
wow.
while he was doing this course, he was struggling with the physics, he was struggling with the mathematics and the calculus. And one day he sent me a private message. He said, "Ma'am, this is not working for me.
Oh,
And I'm so scared to tell my parents. They have invested so much money, and there's a lot of. I'm the first one in the family, from the extended family, to go abroad to study, and so I don't want to disappoint the family, but I'm really, really not cut out for this. I'm going to be." He was a very good student at school, so I was quite surprised. But everything is different when you're having to deal with homesickness, you're dealing with what to eat, which classes to go for, and what to
yeah.
sign up for, what not to do, and everything, right? So I told him, "Okay, all right, don't freak out. Tell me, what is the other thing that interests you? Something in the same space, right?" So I said, first thing, before you talk to your parents, because your parents need to know more than I, it is they who have the right to know about what you're going through. But before that, go and talk to your academic and career advisor in school. Talk to them about your apprehensions. And he then went and spoke, and then they all amicably decided that none of his courses will go to waste. He just had to do a few additional courses to get into aviation management.
Oh,
Okay, so it is still aviation, but it was not the hard hitting aeronautical engineering. So today he is actually working in that space. I want to go and see him in that Syracuse airport one day.
oh my goodness. It's Syracuse?
Yeah,
Oh, wow. So that's funny. My parents live near Syracuse, and so I'm near that
I
airport
can,
all the time.
I can look you up. Go and see him, and you know what I'm talking about.
I might
He
have to
is so.
make my way down there and get him in an interview. That's such a cool story, Rima. And I
Really,
was gonna ask. Oh, go
mhm.
ahead.
No, so I'm so proud of the fact that, in spite of having made a few, course changes, he has corrected the course and is doing precisely what he wants, right? So it
Yeah.
depends on. So, but in the British and the Indian system, for example, there is very difficult opportunity for a student to navigate this and choose something else while in the course. They have to reapply and apply to another course all over again. I can give you a classic example again. Now, this particular student, he had joined for economics in a top British university. He had a very good, like he had 86% or so in his 12th grade. He done pretty well. But the system in India, he studied in Dubai, but from an Indian curriculum school. So the system is so different from the British, where you're encouraged to do it all on your own. You have to do your own research, go to the library, spend time. All of that was so alien to him, so difficult also. So he really struggled. And then he told his parents in 6 months, he told his parents he couldn't do it.
Mm,
He said, um, it is very hard. Then I told the parents, I was not the one who placed him actually. He had gone directly from another entity. But the parents didn't want to go back there, so they came to me. And then we had this conversation about what else interests you and all of that. And then, because the university made it very clear that he cannot continue, he had to go back, he has to apply all over again. So he said, if that's the case, then I'm not going to that university. I'd like to start off elsewhere. And then we had lots of conversations, and I figured out that he was really wanting a helping profession. He
uh,
had worked with his grandfather. He had helped in an old age home back home in the summer, and that gave him a lot of joy. So I said, where is economics and where is the helping profession? It's very different, right? So
yeah,
I said, you know, caregivers are very much in demand, you know. So if
absolutely.
you choose that line of work, you will not go. You'd always have something to do, and if that is the one that gives you more joy than economics, let's do that. So we had a conversation with the parents, and they also said, okay, let's do the assessment as well, just to reconfirm, because we have 1 year's money and time and effort has gone down the drain. We don't want to make the same mistakes again.
Right.
So he came home last break. He was very happy. He said it's as part of the course, he has to do a lot of practicum. He has a supervisor he can talk to. So it is very different from what he set out to do initially, but now he's very happy, seems to have found what he wants.
Well, that's another amazing story, Rima. And I know we're close to the time I asked you for today. So, one thing I definitely want to ask before we, and I hope you'll come back to do another episode, but this role you're playing, you can already tell how important it is for the lives of these students because, there's someone who ended up in aviation management that might have, thought aviation wasn't for them at all, but they just needed someone to have that conversation with. And the same in this caregiver role. So if people are watching this episode and there are students looking for support, what's the best way to connect with you and engage you and try to, have get some support from the work you do?
Sure, I'd be happy to help. I have a website. It's called counselingpoint.com. There is a contact us page. They can perhaps send an email out there. I'm very much on LinkedIn. They can reach me through LinkedIn. In fact, this last week I did a whole presentation, a webinar about how to recognize your personality, your interest, and your future goals through reflection, to be able to introspect, to be able to see. All of us all the time look at outside things. We look at the what our cousins are doing, what our father's doing, what our neighbors are doing. We are also very much motivated and influenced by some of the serials that we watch. Young people
True.
are influenced by those sort of things. We also are, don't we? Also watch all those Netflix and Amazon. So I tell them that you have to have realistic expectations, not just so. During that webinar, I spoke of creating a personal portfolio where at 15 or 17, what is your personal goal? What is it that you would like to, what is the kind of legacy you want to leave? Right now, it will change, but how are you with your studies? What are some of the, for example, extracurriculars? Are you good with swimming? Are you good with debate and declamation? Have you taken part in MUN? Have you gone for a study exchange program? Have you presented, whatever,
Yeah.
because no two students are alike. When you were in school, did you ever think you'll be doing these podcasts with, because technology also has given us ample opportunity to mix and match and understand where we can, how we can maximize our chances in showcasing what we are capable of, right? So
Absolutely.
I told all of this. There were 150 viewers, and they were principals, administrators, counselors, and teachers of Abu Dhabi and that side, not Dubai side. So I told them all about how they could encourage their students to take up internships, take part in some initiative for community engagement, all of that over the summer,
Absolutely.
so that when they come back, they would have some stories to tell. And in the long term, it will impact their decision making capability.
That's such
And
a good point, Rima. And um, I'm so glad that that's a recommendation, these internship programs, and that people and the administrator level are being told this. So I'm going to definitely encourage people to reach out to you. And I only have a minute left with you here. So I just want to say thank you so much for the experience, the stories, the examples that you shared today. I think this is going to give people a lot of hope and just tell them that, there are ways to change gears and find the work that's right for you. So I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I truly appreciate it.
thank you. I just have one point which I want to add. We parents and well wishers always put a lot of pressure on students about the academic capability, but not all are so well equipped academically. They may have other skills. So we have to nurture those skills should they not be good with, because marks don't really define you.
It's
Marks
true.
will determine whether you can get a good scholarship or you get into a top ranking university, but it's not for everyone.
It's absolutely
So
true, Rima.
yeah, so because this is a crucial time when all the marks are coming out, children are stressed out, families are, really worried. So this is my message. Please don't worry. Everything will work out. We just have to be patient, look for opportunities, and be a lifelong learner.
Thank you, Rima. Thank you so much. I hope you have a
You're
great
welcome.
rest of your day, and I hope to have you back on soon. Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks so much. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye.
Yeah, bye bye.